Hi, I am Neil and I'm with the Dutch Azad podcast, Azad Alerts. If you've been around for a longer time, you know that I was also in the last pre-match interview for Azad Tottenham earlier this season, which ended in, as most of you know, in a 1-0 win for Tottenham. Today I'm going to look at basically similar questions as last time. Going to look into how Azad is looking towards facing Tottenham and how Azad is going to play against Tottenham, especially how I feel about us facing Tottenham. So that's going to be interesting. I'm going to have a look at the first question for today. The first question is about how or what I have made of Azad so far in the Europa League. Well, as you know, we faced Tottenham before in the Europa League, in which we unfortunately lost 1-0 after quite an interesting match in terms of both teams not really um, performing at the best of their capabilities. Uh, but then the other games, as that was very mixed in the way that they faced their opponents. They played very good matches, especially against the Turkish clubs, Galatasaray and Fenerbahce, of which both one of them they won and the other one they ended in a draw. But they've played very mixed matches. One of them stood out to me most, which was the last one in the group stage against Ferencváros, in which they lost 4-1. So that was quite 4-2. So that was quite unpleasant, or at least surprising, as they were going to the into that match as the as the one in favor of winning. But yeah, the last match that we played before facing Tottenham, which was also Galatasaray, in which we won quite surprisingly and easily um, over two matches with, I think it was 4-1 at home and 2-2 away. So it was a 6-3 win, which was quite surprising, comparing AZ to a very big Turkish club, or at least a name, a club with a big name like Galatasaray. So that was surprising. So AZ is just very mixed in how they face their opponents, and it can go one way. They can play amazing, and the other day yeah they basically uh, they can play a lot worse. In recent matches, as the second question lists, AZ isn't performing very good. They won against Fortuna with a 1-0 win, and they won after penalties against Heracles in the cup, in the Dutch Cup. After which they placed themselves into the final, so it's a very positive thing. But Heracles generally isn't a very good club, so it was quite unfortunate for us to go into penalties and luckily eventually win. But it was a very hard match. So over the last three games, we lost one game as well against Heerenveen last Sunday. So that also wasn't a very good feeling going towards this Thursday, going out of the weekend with a loss. So now over the last five games, we won two of them against Galatasaray, and we lost the. As the third question follows, the key players of Asset currently can be named as former Premier League midfielder Jordi Klaasie is always the most consistent and most important player on the field with his passing and with his um, addition to the overall play that the team has. So if he is not playing, you can immediately see that the team is performing a lot worse in terms of overall playing style and in terms of how strong the midfield is in terms of um, attacking or defending. So he's a very prominent and very important player within the squad. And also next to Jordi Klaasie, the young center back Wouter Goes is quite nameable. He has been performing very well, very consistent over the last couple of months. Um, just like our goalkeeper Ois Odora, who has been very important to us in the last penalty series of last Thursday. But he has also been performing very consistent over the last couple of months. I think I already mentioned something about the last game that AZ played against Tottenham, in which we unfortunately lost by 1-0. We also had a very unpleasant red card in the last couple of minutes. But looking back at that match, I was quite hopeful. Um, I was not well. I had some. I was very hopeful in terms of that it could have been a lot worse. So I was somewhat relieved. But it somewhat set my hopes up for a good result tomorrow and next week. But also taking into account question five and just the overall feeling that I have towards facing Tottenham, I do feel that it's going to be very hard with a fully fit and fully ready squad in terms of every prominent player for the Spurs being back in the squad and being able to play against Azad. It's going to be very difficult to have a very good day and win over one game, let alone that it's going to be very hard to win over two games. So no, I don't have very much hope in Azad in Azad playing or continuing to the next round. But yeah, there's always a chance. The atmosphere tomorrow or Thursday is going to be very interesting. I do think that every AZ fan knows that this is a very important match, especially after winning against Galatasaray. Galatasaray had a great atmosphere during that game. We sort of were inspired by a lot of English and foreign atmospheres, holding up the scarves in the air, and we're gonna do that again tomorrow as well. So the club announced a major um, like campaign to sell scarves on a very low price, so everyone has one and gonna is gonna buy one and it's gonna hold one up in the air. So that's gonna be great. I think the match is sold out, but I don't really know as AZ has the tendency, or AZ fans have the tendency to not show up despite having bought tickets. So that's gonna be interesting. But in terms of, or at least on paper, it's gonna be sold out. And I reckon that I imagine that um, away end is also going to be sold out, but I don't know about that. And then analyzing Tottenham thus far in Europa League, I've been actually noticing them a lot more over the last couple of months, or at least since we faced them. I remember last time doing this pre-match interview that I wasn't really aware of what Tottenham was doing in both the competition and the Europa League. But now I know. I've seen them really grow over the past couple of months in terms of them playing not really well in the beginning, but getting there each game, and I'm really setting their their odds high for winning the competition. So also taking that into account for AZ facing them, I'm still not really hopeful in terms of how it's gonna end for AZ. And last time I also said something about Tottenham playing on the counter attack and letting AZ play the game. A lot of you guys were not very pleased with that answer, but if I look back at that game, uh, I did see something like that. I did see AZ having a lot of control over the match, Tottenham playing a lot better than AZ, but them not being able to get through the defending of AZ. So also taking also knowing that a lot of good players for Tottenham are now back in the squad, especially up front. I do feel that we're gonna be even more backwards in terms of defending. and that we are, as I said, going to be playing on a counter attack, as it's going to be very hard um, to yeah to score a goal, let alone not get one uh, be scored against you. So also knowing that you have to play 2 games, I do feel that when Azad does score 1 goal, as you've seen against Azad Galatasaray, I do feel that when they do score 1 goal, that they do have the tendency to then also push through and score more goals, because it's going to be very hard in the second match visiting you guys in London. So I do have the feeling that we're going to be pushing a lot tomorrow and starting off playing very defensive, if that's somewhat understandable. And then the very last 2 questions about how that's going to line up tomorrow or on Thursday against Tottenham. So I think they will be starting off similarly to how they started off in the game against Heracles. So that's going to be with Obiso Duro in goal, with not Mees de Wit, but the Norwegian international David Müller-Wolf on the left back position, and then the Portuguese center back Alexandre Penetra on the left center back position, and then the young Dutch defender Wouter Goes on the right center back position, the Japanese international Maikuma on the right back position, then Jordi Klaasie on the midfield together with Pierre Koopmeiners. Then up front, I think they will be playing with Michael Lachta on the left front position, a Swedish young international. Not for the first Swedish squad, but the second Swedish squad. And on the right front position, they're going to play with the young Dutch player Enes Poku. And then it's either going to be Zico Buurmeester on the number 10 position or Sven Meinons, depending on the fitness level of Meinons. One thing that's going to be for sure is that Troy Parrott is going to start up front. He's currently our only striker, as Max Meerdink is unfortunately still slightly injured. So I think he's going to be back in the squad. I hope that he's going to be back in the squad. But it's quite certain that he's not going to start up front. So a former Tottenham player, Troy Parrott, is going to be up front, and hopefully he's going to do some good for us, coming from an AZ supporter. So that's going to be our starting 11, I think. Then going over to the very last question, what do I think the result is going to be? I predict that we are, with a slight bit of optimism, I hope that we're going to win. A slight bit of optimism. I do hope that we're going to win 2-1, but then going into the second game, I think we're going to lose. But I don't need to. I really don't. I really do have to keep my hopes up. But I also see AZ losing 0-4 or 0-3 tomorrow, because the level that Tottenham is playing at is just a lot higher than that of AZ. So optimism is still there, but the realism is also really facing us. So we'll see. Thank you very much for having me in this pre-match interview, and I'm really looking forward to seeing you guys and Tottenham Hotspur fans in the stadium tomorrow. So have a very good match.
you.